A friend of mine the other day was asking me, he said, why did you write a book about cannabis marijuana anyway? You're from the Midwest, you don't partake in it. What'd you do it for? And I thought that was a great question. And I said, it's real simple. As you know, I have an 11-year-old son. But beyond that, there is 74 million kids under the age of 18 in the U.S. And there is just a ton of confusing information out there. And it's just this simple. It needed to be simplified. And he said, well, I guess I understand that, but what does it mean, stop using the M word? What are you talking about? And I thought, yeah, here we go. Okay, so I said, let me tell you a story. Last year, I'm pulled off the interstate and needed some gas, so I'm sitting there pumping gas. I'm at a marathon station. And as I'm sitting there pumping, waiting like you do, as it runs it up full, I'm looking at the marquee on the building, and I'm just casually looking, and I notice it's saying, milk and bread and whatever they're trying to lure you in to buy. And at the very bottom right corner, it said CBD. And I thought, CBD, cannabidiol, from cannabis. What is that doing on the marquee of a marathon gas station? I didn't even know such a thing was possible. And I thought, is this possible? And for the first time, that time my son was 10, I literally thought, it's that time for me. I'm going to have this conversation with him. And he could be with mom looking at that, see what that is, go inside, see that, and then it's going to be up to whatever the girl at the cash register says it is, or if he asks a buddy at school, whatever that little boy or girl says it is, that's going to be his overall knowledge. This is coming at him, and I didn't even know it. And so I actually, for the first time, I started to kind of feel fear. I thought, how do I even approach this? And because that kind of thing wasn't around when my daughter, who's now 23 and off living in Australia, was growing up. It's now. And so as I headed home, I decided, I got to look into this. And so I get online over the course of the next couple days. And what happened is, I'll never forget this, as I'm going through the information and I'm cross-referencing and I'm going to the various websites and the people who are talking about it, two things come out to me real clearly, real quick. It comes off almost scientifically because it is a complex topic. There's a lot going on. That's first. And second, it is a sea of information. And so I thought, well, I'm going to start searching and looking for something because this isn't helping me. I'm only getting more confused, more frustrated, and more anxious about how I'm going to even approach this with him. Because the more I'm learning, the more I'm realizing I don't know. So I started looking for a book, any kind of information that was a compact, just a one-place stop-all where I could go, I could learn about the history, the names, I know there's a ton of slang, what all that means, and what the basic understanding of cannabis and marijuana is, and then how to simplify it for his little mind that's somewhere between 4th and 6th grade. And as I looked and looked and looked, something was very clear. It didn't exist. And so I, in that moment, thought, that's what's missing. There's 74 million children under the age of 18 in America, and my boy's one of them. And there's nowhere I can go and get a quick little overview of simplification and education in one place. And I made a decision later that next afternoon, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon when I was contemplating it, I will be the one to simplify it. And I didn't even know how to begin other than from the heart. I was driven through the desire to create some kind of simplified process for him that I could take it in myself first, understand it myself, because I can't give what I don't have. If I don't have a simplified understanding of it, I can't give it to him. And he can't be expected to understand it at 11. And I certainly don't want his friend, love his friends, but I don't want his friends being the one to try to explain to him their version of their understanding from parents that also don't understand the details. So I had to act. And that's how it came about. Now, you ask, what does it mean to stop using the M word? Well, that part became real clear real quick. Marijuana is a derogative pejorative slang term based in racism. This is a fact. You read my book, you'll see it clearly. I itemize it very clearly how it became a fact in the 30s and how it became illegal. And so I'm thinking, okay, as I'm writing this, I'm not only going to speak to that, explain that, point that out, and historically reference all of this, but at the same time, I have to also eliminate slang terms, racist terms, and anything that is negative or doesn't promote simplification. Well, the whole industry and the whole idea of marijuana and cannabis is riddled with slang terms. It's riddled with all kinds of pejorative terms that the individuals that utilize cannabis in some cases want to use as opposed to just calling it cannabis, which is what it's actually really called. And so for me, it was simple. If I want to create a quick reference manual for parents, the parents of these 74 million kids, then I needed to give them honest, accurate, clear, simplified words to build the foundation of education on. Because the truth is, if you think about education, you cannot build education upon anything that's false, anything that's a slang, anything that is racist. You will not have a good foundation. So that is why I needed to start, simplify, eradicate the slang terms. And the point of stop using the M word is marijuana is racist, it's pejorative, it's negative, and it was never its name up until the 1930s when that word was used to help promote the negative feelings about the cannabis plant so that they could help make it illegal. And those are referenced in historical facts in there in the book. So for me, stop using the M word is the position that I hold, because if I'm wanting my son and your son or daughter to understand what this thing is, they need to at least call it by its real, accurate, honest terms. So I recommend you pick up the book. The book's fantastic. It's a short read. I spent 1 year of my life simplifying it so you could spend 2.5 hours to understand it yourself so that you could give it to your child all in the same weekend.